Ever feel like the business world is just this giant interconnected web?
Hmm.
Like one company makes a move,
Yeah.
and it can set off like a chain reaction across entire industries.
100%.
Well, today's deep dive
Yeah.
is a perfect example of that.
Absolutely.
We're going to be taking a look at Boeing,
Okay.
the giant of aerospace,
Cute.
and how their recent financial maneuver
Yeah.
is causing a stir.
It is, it's a classic ripple effect.
Yeah.
Boeing just pulled off this massive equity raise, bringing in a whopping $21.1 billion to bolster their balance sheet.
Okay, so for those of us who don't spend our days on Wall Street,
Right.
what exactly does equity raise even mean?
Yeah, so imagine Boeing needs a cash infusion.
Okay.
Right, they need like a giant piggy bank to fund all this development of their next generation of airplanes.
Yeah.
So they essentially sold off little pieces of ownership in the company to raise that $21.1 billion.
So like slices of a giant aerospace pie.
Exactly.
Got it.
And here's why you should care.
Okay.
Boeing is America's biggest exporter.
Wow.
So their success or struggles
Yeah.
have a ripple effect on the entire U.S. economy.
So it's not just about Boeing building planes, it's about their impact on
jobs, innovation, and the economy as a whole.
really the whole thing.
The whole thing.
Wow.
And this move is sending shockwaves through the industry.
Okay.
So today we'll be focusing on 3 companies in particular that are feeling the impact of Boeing's big decision.
Got it.
Think of it like a detective story.
Ooh, I like it.
Starting with Boeing's case, and then we follow the clues
Yeah.
to see how it affects everyone else.
I love a good mystery.
Yeah.
Let's start with the prime suspect.
All right.
Boeing.
Let's do it.
What's their situation right now?
Sure.
And why did they need this giant cash injection?
So they're in a bit of a financial bind. You see, they're pouring resources into developing these cutting-edge next-gen airplanes, the kind that'll revolutionize air travel as we know it.
Right.
But those projects take time.
Yeah.
Years, even.
Okay.
And they're burning through cash right now.
So it's like they're investing in the future,
Exactly.
but they need to keep the lights on in the present.
Keep the lights on.
Yeah.
This equity raise gives them the breathing room they need
Okay.
to stay competitive. Because let's not forget,
Right.
Boeing has rivals snapping at their heels.
Boy.
Companies like China's Comac or Brazil's Embraer.
Right.
So this move helps ensure that they can hold their ground
Yep.
and continue to lead the pack in the global aerospace race.
So it's like a high-stakes poker game
It is.
with billions of dollars and global dominance on the line.
Absolutely.
But hold on.
Yeah,
You mentioned this affects other companies, too.
it does.
Absolutely.
Okay, in fact, for some companies,
Yeah.
Boeing's news is even bigger news
Oh.
than it is for Boeing itself.
Wow.
We're talking about their suppliers,
Right.
the companies that provide the parts and materials that go into those incredible flying machines.
So like if Boeing is making a giant pizza order,
Yes,
the pizza place is going to be pretty happy.
very happy.
So who are these pizza places in the aerospace world?
That's a great analogy.
Thanks.
There are 3 key players we're going to focus on today.
Okay.
RTX,
Mm-hmm.
GE Aerospace,
Okay.
and Hexcel.
Got it.
Each of them plays a critical role in the supply chain,
Yeah.
and each of them has a unique story to tell
Okay.
about how Boeing's move is shaking things up.
I'm all ears.
All right.
Let's start with RTX.
Okay. So RTX is a major player
Okay.
in the aerospace and defense industry.
Mm-hmm.
They're a conglomerate,
Okay.
which means they've got their fingers in a lot of different pies.
Got it.
But one of their key businesses is supplying parts to Boeing.
What kind of parts are we talking about?
Well, more like the essential ingredients. Think
Okay.
engines,
Yeah.
avionics, landing gear,
Okay.
the crucial components that make those planes fly.
Got it.
But here's where RTX's story takes an interesting turn.
Okay.
While Boeing's good news is generally positive for suppliers,
Right.
RTX is actually facing a bit of a mixed bag situation.
Oh, that sounds intriguing.
Yeah.
What's going on there?
Well, on the one hand,
Yeah.
their commercial original equipment sales,
Okay.
that's the fancy term,
All right.
the parts they make for new planes,
Got it.
are actually down this year.
Why is that?
Yeah.
Wouldn't Boeing needing more parts?
You'd think so, right?
Yeah.
But there's a twist.
Okay.
There have been some delays in airplane production
Okay.
across the industry.
Mm-hmm.
So those new planes that RTX makes parts for
Right.
aren't rolling off the assembly lines as quickly as expected.
So even though Boeing is gearing up There are other factors at play
There are.
that are impacting RTX.
Absolutely.
Okay.
It's like ordering a pizza, but the delivery guy gets stuck in traffic.
Oh, no.
The demand is there,
Yeah.
but the supply chain is facing some hiccups.
So that's a bummer for RTX.
Yeah.
But I'm guessing this whole situation might actually be good news for someone else.
You are catching on quickly.
Huh?
Remember how we talked about airlines holding on to their older planes longer
Yeah.
because of those production delays?
Right.
Well, that brings us to our next player
Okay.
in this aerospace drama,
Right.
GE Aerospace.
Okay, so if RTX is feeling the pinch
Yeah.
from new plane production delays,
Right.
how does GE fit into all of this?
Well, GE Aerospace is another major supplier to Boeing,
Okay.
but they have a slightly different angle. They
Yeah.
make a lot of engines,
Mhm.
and not just for the shiny new planes.
Wait, so are you saying that while RTX is waiting for those new planes to be built,
Yeah.
GE is happily supplying parts for the older ones
That's right.
that are still flying around?
Bingo.
Wow.
And it's not just any old engine.
Okay.
GE makes the CFM56, which is basically the workhorse of the skies.
Really?
You'll find it on a ton of older Boeing planes.
Wow.
And guess what happens when those planes stay in service longer?
They need more maintenance?
Yeah.
And probably more replacement parts.
Absolutely.
Which means more business for GE.
You got it.
Nice.
It's a classic case of one company's problem
Yeah.
becoming another company's opportunity.
Interesting.
While RTX is dealing with the slowdown in new plane production,
Right.
GE is enjoying an extended peak period
Wow.
for engine shop visits.
So all those older CFM56s
Yes.
are getting a lot of love right now.
A lot of love.
So RTX is kind of like the pizza place
Yes.
waiting for that big order to come through,
Uh-huh.
while GE is already slammed with customers ordering extra toppings.
That's a great way to put it. And this contrast highlights an important lesson
Okay.
for anyone following the business world.
What's that?
The same event can have vastly different impacts on different companies,
Yeah.
even within the same industry.
Interesting.
It all depends on where they are in the supply chain
Okay.
and what specific products or services they offer.
So we talked about RTX
We did.
and their mixed bag situation. And we
Mhm.
talked about GE,
Yeah.
who seems to be reaping the benefits
Right.
of the current climate.
Absolutely.
Who else is caught up in this
Uh,
Boeing ripple effect?
That brings us to our final player
Okay.
in this game of aerospace chess,
Right.
Hexcel.
Okay.
And their situation
Yeah.
is perhaps the most dramatic of all.
Ooh.
Buckle up, because this is where things get really interesting.
Yeah.
So Hexcel's story
Yeah.
is a bit like a high wire act,
Okay.
with them balancing precariously on this tightrope
Tough.
of new plane production.
Yeah.
You know, see, unlike RTX,
Yeah.
who has this diverse portfolio,
Right.
and GE, who's got those older engines keeping them busy,
Right. Right.
Hexcel is almost entirely dependent on
Yeah.
Boeing and other manufacturers churning out
But-
brand new planes.
So they're really putting all their eggs
They are
in the new plane basket.
all the eggs in one basket.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That sounds a little risky,
it is.
especially with all these production delays we've been talking about.
It is a risky strategy,
Yeah.
and it's certainly been a tough year for Hexcel.
Oh, no.
They provide these advanced composite materials, think
Yeah.
super strong and lightweight stuff that goes into those next-gen aircraft.
Oh, cool.
But with the slowdown in production,
Yeah.
they've taken a harder hit
Okay.
than some of the other suppliers we've discussed.
Oof, that's got to be stressful.
It is.
It's like they're the pizza dough maker who's
Yeah.
prepped enough
Yeah.
for 100 pizzas.
Yeah.
But suddenly no one's ordering.
Exactly. But here's where Boeing's big move comes in as a potential game changer for Hexcel.
Right.
That equity raise we talked about.
Yeah.
It's a signal that Boeing is serious about ramping up production,
Got it.
getting those new planes in the air.
Yeah.
And that's music to Hexcel's ears.
So it's like Boeing just placed this massive order for pizza dough, enough to make up for all the lost sales.
All those lost sales.
Wow.
Boeing's stability and commitment to the future
Okay.
mean a more predictable stream of orders for Hexcel's cutting-edge materials.
Okay.
They can finally breathe a sigh of relief
That's good.
and get back to doing what they do best,
Right.
innovating and supplying those building blocks
Yeah.
for those incredible flying machines.
It's amazing how one company's actions
Right.
can have such a dramatic impact on so many others.
Absolutely.
It really highlights
Does
the interconnectedness of the business world.
And it underscores the importance of understanding these ripple effects. Yeah. Because even if you're not directly invested in Boeing or any of its suppliers, their success or lack thereof has implications for everyone.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
So if I'm not like a Wall Street analyst or an aerospace engineer, why should I care about all of this?
That's a great question.
What does it mean for the average person?
Well, think about it this way.
Okay.
A healthy Boeing means a healthy U.S. economy.
Got it.
Their success translates into jobs.
Okay.
Not just at Boeing itself, but also at all those suppliers and the smaller businesses that feed into their supply chains.
So it's like a chain reaction.
It is.
Creating this ripple effect that spreads outward.
Exactly. And it goes beyond just jobs.
Okay.
Boeing's commitment to innovation, which is clearly demonstrated by this equity raise, drives technological advancements that benefit everyone.
Cool.
Think about lighter, more fuel-efficient planes,
Yeah.
which could lead to lower ticket prices.
Okay, that's good.
And a reduced environmental impact.
That's huge.
Huge.
So it's not just about Wall Street and stock prices. It's about how these decisions impact things like jobs,
Yes.
travel, and even the environment.
Absolutely.
Wow.
And speaking of the environment,
Yeah.
we can't forget about the push
Coca-Cola.
towards sustainable aviation.
Right.
Boeing, along with its suppliers, is investing heavily in developing more eco-friendly technologies, which is something that should excite everyone.
I love that they're looking ahead
Yeah.
and trying to make air travel more sustainable.
Absolutely.
But before we get too carried away with the future, let's bring it back to the present for a moment.
Okay.
We talked about RTX facing some challenges with their engine business.
We did.
But we didn't really dive into the details of what's going on there.
Yes. The Pratt & Whitney GTF engine saga.
Okay.
It's a bit of a headache for them at the moment.
Oh, no.
They have had to take a significant charge to the tune of $500 million.
Wow.
Due to durability issues
Okay.
with those engines.
Got it.
Essentially, they're needing repairs sooner than anticipated.
Oh, that's got to hurt.
Yeah.
But wait, isn't this tied back to what we were discussing earlier about older planes staying in service longer?
Precisely.
Yeah.
You're connecting the dots beautifully. You see those newer planes, many of which would have been equipped with that GTF engine, aren't being delivered on schedule because of those production delays.
Right.
So airlines are keeping their older planes in the air longer. Which
means those older engines, like the ones GE makes, are in higher demand for maintenance and repairs.
Exactly.
So it's like one company's problem is another company's unexpected windfall.
It is. Wow. It's like that game of industrial chess we mentioned earlier.
Right.
While RTX grapples with these engine issues, GE Aerospace is capitalizing on the extended lifespan of those older planes.
So they're really benefiting from this whole situation.
They are.
And remember, GE also makes the LEP engine.
They do.
Which is used on newer aircraft.
That's right.
The Boeing 737 MAX.
Yes.
So as Boeing ramps up production, GE is in a win-win situation.
It seems that way.
They're servicing the old and supplying the new.
Supplying the new.
Talk about being in the right place at the right time.
It does seem that way, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But it's not just about luck.
Okay.
GE Aerospace has been strategically positioning themselves for this very moment.
Got it.
They've been investing in their services business, expanding their repair capabilities, and streamlining their supply chains.
Cool.
They saw this coming, and they made sure they were ready to meet that surge in demand.
That's smart.
It is.
They're like the savvy restaurant owner who anticipates a rush and makes sure they've got enough staff and ingredients to handle the crowd.
A perfect analogy. And it highlights a key takeaway for anyone interested in understanding the complexities of the business world.
What is it?
It's not always about the shiny new product or the big headline-grabbing announcement.
Right.
Sometimes the real long-term value lies in those less glamorous but absolutely essential services that keep things running smoothly behind the scenes.
So while we're all excited about the potential of these futuristic next-gen airplanes, we shouldn't forget about the workhorses of the sky, the ones powered by those trusty CFM56 and LEA engines.
Yeah.
They're keeping us flying.
They are.
And they'll continue to play a vital role for years to come.
For years to come.
Which brings us back
to
the Boeing.
Yep.
And their bold move.
Yeah. With that massive equity raise.
Right.
It's a clear signal that they're not just thinking about the next quarter or the next year.
Yeah.
They're playing the long game.
Cool.
They're committed to staying ahead of the curve, investing in innovation, and ensuring that the U.S. remains a leader in the global aerospace market.
It's a high-stakes game.
It is.
But they're not backing down.
They're not.
And from what we've discussed today, it seems like their decision is having this major impact.
A major impact.
On the entire industry.
The entire industry.
But it's not all smooth sailing, is it? What are some of the challenges?
That's a great question.
That Boeing and its suppliers are facing right now in this ever-evolving landscape?
Well, one of the biggest challenges is something we've touched on already, supply chain management.
Right.
It's been a major bottleneck for the entire industry with disruptions, causing delays, and driving up costs.
Oh, yeah.
Imagine trying to build a plane with parts scattered all over the world and suddenly borders close or shipping routes get disrupted.
Oh, wow.
It's a logistical nightmare.
It sounds like trying to bake a cake.
Yeah.
When you're missing half the ingredients.
Exactly.
No one wants a plane with only one wing.
Nobody wants that.
That's true.
So Boeing, along with companies like RTX and GE Aerospace, are working hard to strengthen their supply chains.
Got it.
Diversify their sources and build more resilience into their operations.
So it's about having the right parts in the right place at the right time.
At the right time.
And that's no easy feat.
It's not.
In today's unpredictable world.
Especially with all the geopolitical uncertainty and economic volatility we're seeing globally.
It's like playing Jenga.
Yeah.
With the global economy.
It is.
One wrong move.
Yep.
And the whole thing could come crashing down.
That's a great analogy.
Thanks.
And it highlights another key challenge the industry is facing.
What's that?
Workforce development.
Okay.
The aerospace industry needs skilled workers, engineers, technicians, mechanics, and there's a growing shortage of qualified people to fill these roles.
So it's one thing to have the blueprints for those amazing next-gen airplanes.
Right.
But you need the people who can actually build and maintain them.
Absolutely.
That's a good point.
So companies like Boeing are investing in training programs, apprenticeships, and partnerships with educational institutions to attract and retain the talent they need to stay competitive.
It's about investing in the future.
It is.
Not just in terms of technology, but also in terms of people.
Absolutely.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
You need the best and the brightest minds.
You do.
To create those groundbreaking innovations.
Right.
But we focused a lot on the big players. Boeing, RTX, GE Aerospace.
Right.
What about the smaller companies in the aerospace ecosystem?
That's a great question.
Are they getting squeezed out?
Not at all.
But these giants.
In fact, what's fascinating is we're seeing this surge of innovation from smaller companies, particularly in areas like electric aircraft and advanced air mobility.
Wait, are we talking about flying cars here?
Not quite cars, but definitely flying vehicles.
Cool.
Companies like Eviation and Joby Aviation are developing electric planes for short-haul flights, think regional routes, or even air taxis within cities.
Wow.
Imagine hopping into an electric aircraft for a quick trip across town, bypassing all that traffic, and reducing your carbon footprint at the same time.
That sounds incredible.
Yeah.
Like something straight out of a sci-fi movie.
It does, doesn't it?
But are these flying taxis really a viable option?
They're definitely getting closer to reality. The technology is advancing rapidly, and there's a growing demand for more sustainable and efficient transportation solutions.
Of course, there are still hurdles to overcome.
There are.
Things like battery range and regulatory approvals.
Absolutely.
But the progress is exciting.
It is.
And it has the potential to revolutionize how we think about transportation.
100%.
It's like this whole new frontier opening up in the skies.
It's a new frontier.
And speaking of frontiers, what about space travel?
Oh, yeah.
We've seen companies like SpaceX and Blue Origin making huge strides.
Huge strides.
In commercial space flights.
Yes.
Is that something that Boeing and its suppliers are involved in as well?
Absolutely. Oh. The lines between aerospace and defense are blurring. And we're seeing increased investment in space-based technologies from satellites to launch vehicles.
Wow.
This creates opportunities for both the established players like Boeing and the new kids on the block like SpaceX.
It's mind-boggling to think about where this industry could be in 10, 20, even 50 years.
It's hard to say.
Will we be taking weekend trips to the moon?
Who knows?
Commuting to work in flying taxis?
Maybe.
The possibilities seem endless.
They do.
And it all ties back.
It does.
This theme of innovation. This ripple effect we've been discussing.
Yeah, right.
One company's breakthrough can inspire a whole wave of new ideas and technology.
It's like a chain reaction.
Yeah.
Pushing the boundaries of what's possible and reshaping the entire landscape of the industry.
It really is.
And that's what makes this such an exciting field to follow.
I agree.
It's constantly evolving, always pushing forward, and it has the potential to impact our lives in profound ways.
So, as we wrap up this deep dive,
okay,
I think the key takeaway is this.
What is it?
Keep an eye on the sky.
I couldn't agree more.
The future of aerospace is unfolding right before our eyes.
It is.
And it's going to be an incredible journey.
It will be.
And who knows, maybe one of our listeners will be the one to invent the next groundbreaking.
That would be amazing.
Aerospace technology.
Yeah.
Keep those imaginations soaring, folks.
Keep them soaring.
That's it for our deep dive into the world of Boeing and its ripple effect on the aerospace industry.
Great discussion.
Thanks for joining us.